important aspect of Article 1, which establishes the legislative branch of government and enumerates certain powers given to Congress, includes the very, very important Commerce Clause, which will affect us in business all the time, potentially. Even when, you think it might not because you're just operating within your own state lines. If they decide it's something that could excessively burden interstate commerce, the federal government can come in and exercise power. So the Commerce Clause grants Congress the power to regulate commerce with foreign nations, so international commerce among the several states, interstate commerce, and with Indian tribes. That is in American Indian tribes. So the federal government has the power to regulate three types of commerce: commerce with the Native American tribes, international commerce, i.e. foreign commerce, and interstate commerce, so commerce between the states of the Union. Foreign and interstate commerce is provided for under Article 1 of the United States Constitution. So the original Constitution of the United States this is where the Commerce Clause can be found. This is the one, remember, that also establishes specifically the legislative branch of government, and enumerates its powers. So the Foreign Commerce Clause means that the federal government has the authority to regulate all foreign commerce. Direct regulation or indirect regulation by state or local governments that burdens foreign commerce means that the federal government has the constitutional authority to step in and stop it and intervene. Interstate commerce means commerce that moves between the states or, and this is an important or, that has an effect on commerce between the states. So even if you think, I am just operating within the state of Texas or whatever state you decided to potentially do business in one day, and you're not, doing any business across states. Maybe you're just operating a hotel, right, with one branch in one city. If you are potentially affecting commerce between the states, you are subject to the Interstate Commerce Clause and therefore to the federal government's authority. And remember, if the federal government has an enumerated power, if the Congress has an enumerated power, it is not reserved for the states. It's reserved for them. So any commerce that either obviously just directly moves between the states would qualify as interstate commerce. But remember, any commerce that affects commerce between the states, anything that affects the commerce between the states, any action that affects commerce between the states is subject to the federal government's authority because of the Interstate Commerce Clause. And remember, this is under Article 1 of the United States Constitution. So the Dormant Commerce Clause, finally, is the prohibition implied by the Commerce Clause against states passing legislation that discriminates against interstate commerce or excessively burdens interstate commerce. So the Dormant Commerce Clause is not written into the Constitution because it's dormant, right? It doesn't have to be completely obviously stated. It's implied by the fact that Congress has this exclusive power to regulate interstate commerce, that if any state or local government actor does something to affect interstate commerce in a way that discriminates against it or excessively burdens it, then they are seen as stepping on the government's authority there, and the government can respond, the federal government.